Welcome, everybody. Oh, my goodness. We made it. It's Wednesday. It's hump day. Wow. Hump
Okay.
day. Yes, yes. And, I know you all are tuning in now, and it looks like I have a squad. Well, yes, I do have a squad. I have the tribe of all tribes here today, and we're going to have great conversation. But let me explain where you are. You're on the platform StreamYard for the Women's Leadership Forum. The Women's Leadership Forum. And I am your host today. Who am I? My name's Colette Coakley. I'm the Vice President of Human Resources for Maryland Public Television and the founder of the Women's Leadership Forum. Now, the Women's Leadership Forum is a large group. Now, I didn't always say that because we were starting out small, but now we're going into our 5th year, and guess what? There are over 2,000 women who have subscribed to our newsletter. And at our last event, we had over 1,000 women who registered for the event. My goodness. So what do? We don't just register for stuff. Some of us just register for stuff. But in this particular format, we talk about things that women can use to get ahead. Whether it's information, whether it's resources, whether it's things in our community, we want to see each other survive, get ahead, go to that next level, be our best selves. And so we bring all of those resources to you so that you can make it, because that's what we do. We encourage one another to be our best. Okay. And speaking of best, I have a big thank you. Now, I have a childhood, well, it's not childhood, it was more like adulthood friend who remembered me. And I can't say, that this happens all the time, but I received a lovely gift from that friend.
Absolutely
Beautiful. Oh my gosh.
beautiful.
That is lovely. Oh, the jewels. I love the jewels.
I needed to have a little opening just so my foot could slide.
You can't, not my foot anyway.
It slide right up in there.
Right.
So beautiful.
Awesome.
I can't say enough to thank Sandra Craggett. She makes beautiful artwork. I remember when she made lovely pens, faces on the pens, any kind of pen you wanted. I still have mine. She didn't know that. I still have my pen, but she made beautiful pens. We are, if there's such things as church mates, we were church mates, going to the same church at one point in time. But I have to say, thank you, Sandra, for thinking of me all of this time. And I still call you my friend. We were in book club together, and she remembered me, and she wrote a lovely note and said that she wanted to give me something. And I want to publicly thank you. And also say, if you want one of these shoes, because this is bad now. And I mean the good bad, not the bad. I mean the good bad, right?
Yes.
If you want one of these shoes, okay, just hit me up. Let me know, because I will contact Sandra, and I know that she will be glad to make and mail one to you. All right? So let's support one another. This is how I'm supporting. I want to make sure that she gets a shout out, not just for thinking about me, but also because she's an entrepreneur and she is out there hustling and making things, and she's actually a florist. Wow. So I love her. I want to say thank you, and make sure that you support her. Now, who do I have here today? I can't wait because, people We talk about the news all the time and what's going on in the news. So I'm anxious to have this conversation here today. And that's what it is, a conversation. And for you all who are watching, okay, we do have a chat. Yes. We have a chat. We're looking for you to chime in this conversation, because it shouldn't last long, but sometimes the conversation gets so juicy that we end up going a little overtime. But I'm not going to do like the preachers say, let's preach on. We're just going to have conversation. Today, I have two lovely ladies here today. Miss Angela Marshall. And Miss Angela Marshall is the owner of WWFN. Okay, what does that stand for? It's the Worldwide Flavor Network, right? And this is a different spot for her, because usually she is interviewing. And as she said earlier, and now it's her time where she gets to be interviewed. Okay? And I'm going to come back and let Angela tell a little bit more about her. And then, wait a minute, we have someone who has branched out, who has shifted just a little bit in what she's decided to do in her next chapter of her career. And that's Carolyn Mozell. And so she's a leadership coach and a business consultant, helping growth-minded business owners invest in their people, and people invest in themselves. So doesn't that sound like what the Forward Women's Leadership Forum wants and needs? Both of these ladies here today. So I welcome both of you here to the Forward Women's Leadership Forum format. Welcome.
Thank you so
much. I humbly thank you. This is truly an honor.
Yes.
A little bit. Remember when Arsenio Hall would do that big old, and here we have Angela and Carolyn here on stage. I'm so happy to have you. Happy to have you. So, Angela, why don't you start out by telling us just a little bit more about yourself?
Well, good evening, everyone. It is truly an honor to be here. I want to thank you once again, Ms. Colette, for this opportunity to be on the Women's Leadership Forum. I love working with you. From the moment we met, it's just been truly a pleasure to have connected with you. And it's just been, I think, forever in us to be together. Let me just say that. It's been truly great. That's all I can say.
We stuck together. We
stuck together.
Yeah.
So just to give you a little bit about me, I am the owner of Worldwide Flavor Network. And for those of you who do not know, it is an online radio station. It is a 24-hour-a-day radio station that plays music, all variety of music. So you will get a little bit of jazz, you might get some gospel, you get some R&B, you get a little bit of hip hop, gospel and secular hip hop. So it's just a little bit of everything for everybody. So you never know what you tune into when you hit that button, go to the website and just listen. That's all you got to do. Click and listen. That's all you got to do. We've made the website very interactive. We're going starting next week, we're going to be going straight to the website. You don't have to go to nothing else. We're going to be strictly everything from our website. Everything. The screen, the shows, everything will be directly from the website. And so we want you to be a part of, Worldwide Flavor Network. We have some great shows, just like the Women's Leadership Forum. They have absolutely great shows. I am a fan, as if you know, you might think say top fan, mine say top fan. When I make comments, it say top fan, because I am a top fan of the Women's Leadership Forum, because it has been a blessing to my life. And I know so many others that it has been as well. And so I just want to thank you once again, Colette, for giving me the opportunity to come and share a platform with you once again.
All right. And look, and new to our platform, Carolyn Mozell. Let's bring her on.
Yes. Thank you so much, Colette, and always a pleasure, Angela. Angela was the first person that show I did when I branched out into entrepreneurship. I did it on a Monday, and Thursday I was on her show. I was like, oh no, wait a minute. What am I doing?
Blessings.
Yes, definitely. And another blessing came through a friend, Betsy Gardner, who shared the Women's Leadership Forum conference with me. And, as busy as we all are, and as I found out at the last minute, I was like, oh, this sounds really interesting. I said, I'm just going to pop in. I paid, pop in. I was there the whole time, and I found myself engaged the whole time. And so it was really, truly a divine connection, because I felt like I was with my people, and I felt like I got something, as well as able to give something in that format. So, as Colette said, I am a leadership coach and consultant, business consultant. I help people invest in themselves, and business owners invest in their people. And I do that by helping them to inspire a culture of communication, teamwork, and accountability. It is usually done through change management. That has been what people have come to me for, because I think they recognize that my over 20 years of city government in a leadership position, that's all I did was manage change in so many ways. I can write a book about that. I probably have to do it after, like, I'm gone, because the people will know who people are. So I'll have to wait. I'll leave that buried in the time machine.
Okay.
But I help businesses and management professionals become the leaders that people want to follow. And I think that's important, because you can have leadership, but if you are a leader people want to follow, then you increase productivity, you increase you improve workplace culture, you reduce turnover. There's so many benefits that come from that. So that's my mission, to do that, and to put more kindness into the world through leadership. That's what I'm really up to.
All right. You have a big worldwide mission out there, because there's so many people who have fallen into leadership roles who need some help. That's all I'm gonna say. Period. Okay, so let's talk about something. Let's talk about we're gonna talk about current events here today. Now, I toyed around. I wasn't sure I wanted to talk about this topic, but it's timely. And why avoid it? We have this platform. Why avoid it? Yesterday, we had big news. We had big news, and there was a lot of celebration, if you will. And some people say, well, what is there to celebrate, because a man is now in prison. A man who was to enforce the law is now in prison. But on the other hand, we had a man who lost his life, right? And there's a lot going on in terms of feelings, and a lot with our employees in terms of feelings, a lot with staff members, a lot in the community, and there are leaders. And so what I want to talk about today is, how do we lead? How do we lead now when there's so much going on in the atmosphere? The atmosphere is so charged that if you say the word Black, people are just like, wait, what did you say? What, they might be ready to fight you, because they want to know what context you talk. What you mean by Black? Okay. And the atmosphere is just really charged that people don't know. They don't know what to say. They're fearful. There's a lot of anxiety. There's crying on the job. The managers are like trying to figure out did I sign up for this part? How do we navigate? And so I want to talk about that. How do you navigate your leadership in this particular atmosphere? A lot has gone on. So I'll let either one of you all, start us off.
Carolyn, I'll defer to you. I'll let you start.
Okay. So this is really when empathy and compassion are to be top of the list in leading. Empathy, is of course helping people, understanding the other person's feelings in terms of just understanding the shoes that they're in. And compassion is taking an action once you have recognized that. So being a leader, and if I was still in the workplace, being a leader for me would mean that I would allow people to have conversations, maybe even initiate a conversation to allow a forum for people to just of people of diverse backgrounds and ethnicities to come together and just have a conversation, have honest conversation. But being a leader, doing that with empathy and showing compassion for the conversations that need to have. But empathy and conversation and compassion are truly at the top of the list for these times. Definitely.
I would definitely agree with you on that, Carolyn, 100%. But we have to be very careful when we have these conversations, especially in an open market, in the work environment, because we still really don't know the underlying feelings. They're putting up a face, but we still have to have that real, be careful what we say in that conversation, how we don't undermine what another person may say or feel. And that's what ends up happening in the conversation. Management may not do that, but maybe somebody else that's in the meeting who really doesn't know that they're not having empathy or sympathy or compassion, however you want to say it, in this season and time. So you have to be very careful, because your friend who you didn't know was going to feel like this until yesterday happened.
Right.
They may have had one voice, but then it happened, and now it's a different way. You have to approach it differently, because they may not be your same culture in relationship. So in seeing how they may feel about it, we have to, as even a team member, leadership will have the compassion and empathy, but the team members may not care about having that. They just feel like, I just want to say how I feel. And then another person gets angry. So, being sensitive to a person's feelings is so important, even as an employee, as a colleague, not just as the leadership. I'm glad you spoke more on the leadership side, but I want to speak from the employee side, because of the fact that the employee, they just feel like they want to say what they want to say, because a boss may have had a powwow or because they've maybe had conversations with a few people and felt like, because they're not in the office, maybe they did have a little Zoom where they sat and wanted to, some people have made some comments and felt like, well, maybe we need to talk about this, because, we may not be in the same office, but it may bring about feelings in conversation for business that didn't really have anything to do with business, but they bring it into the work environment. So you have to, kind of help the employees as well as the management deal with it on both ends.
Okay, so let me ask Carolyn this question, and then I'm coming back to sensitive Angela. Okay, empathy, Carolyn, and sensitive Angela. How do you, for some of the newer managers out there, or people that don't know what empathy looks like, how would you start off a conversation, Carolyn, that allows for others to join in that conversation?
Well, I would first have people to recognize and acknowledge that we are all, at the end of the day, human beings. At the end of it, we're all human beings. We may come from different places, come from different backgrounds, we have different experiences, but at the end of it all, we are all human beings. And that these, like, African Americans, Black people, and people of color have had these unique experiences that other ethnicities have not experienced. So we are all the same. We are all humans, but we have different experiences. And this is an opportunity for you to understand what that means and what that looks like for your fellow coworkers. So I think that, just I really always try to hone in on that we are all humans. Period.
Okay, I'm gonna come at this question a different way.
Okay.
Because you didn't exactly answer my question.
Okay.
The way I wanted to hear it. Okay. I'm not saying I'm looking for a particular answer.
Okay.
But what I'm asking is, I came into work today after I witnessed what happened yesterday. Do I say anything to you as a boss?
I think that you don't say anything to me, but as a boss, I bring you guys together to say that, because it was a national, a worldwide conversation. So, it would only be appropriate to bring the team together to say that, we recognize that there are maybe different emotions that are associated with all that has gone on. And, at the end of the day, we're all still humans, and we just need to respect each other's differences. If you have questions about anything, feel free to ask me about them. And, that way as a leader, I would be able to understand what the feelings are if people ask me questions, and then I would be in a better position to take the next step to bring people together around the conversations that they are having.
And
was that
maybe
a better answer?
Yeah, and that was a ding ding. And if I had a bell, ding 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 ding, because I think a lot of times that, particularly when you are facing a Caucasian boss, right? They're stuck for what to say to you. Should I say something, or shouldn't I say anything? Or, did they want to be left alone, or should I apologize? Is this the time to apologize to them? And I think what you said kind of hit it on, hit the nail on the head. That is, I don't think we're looking for an apology. I'm not looking for an apology. And so just recognizing that something took place, is better than not saying anything at all.
Exactly.
It's better than not saying anything at all. And that's what I think that I heard you say, is that bringing a team together. You don't have to come to me individually and say, hey, I know something happened for you. Let me just talk to you. But bringing them together collectively, it is helpful. Okay, Angela, I do have a question for you. I feel like this is contestants row, but okay. I have a question for you. Oftentimes as women, when something goes awry, I'll say, we end up in our boss's office crying. What do you do with that? Now, your female boss is one thing, but you go into your male boss's office and you start crying. What do you do with that?
I believe sometimes the male boss will have more sympathy and empathy and compassion sometimes than, depending on your environment and the type of boss. I found that men can be more compassionate.
Wow.
And some male bosses can be more compassionate than the female boss.
Okay, some female bosses don't know what that ends up looking like. So what in that instance, what does compassion look like?
Well, it depends on the circumstance and the situation that person is entering the office for. So it's going to look different. It's going to have a different face for every situation.
So let's take just for example, yesterday's event. I came into the office and something triggered me. And I got upset, and I go into my boss's office and I'm boo-hooing.
Okay, what nationality are you?
I'm African American.
And what nationality is your boss?
It's Caucasian.
Okay. So in a situation like that, it could go a lot of different ways.
Okay.
And it depends on, you could go in there crying. And did you express to the boss why you were crying?
No, I just started crying.
You just started crying.
I started crying, and then all of a sudden I was like, oh, did you see what happened yesterday? Did you see what happened yesterday? I'm asking you okay, just pretend for a second. Okay. What do you say? What can you say to help console this person?
Well, at that point, I'm going to play as the manager, and I would say to them, have you sought consulting with, because at this point, I'm not going to try to defend what has happened from a Caucasian perspective. I cannot. Okay. But as an African-American woman, I would probably suggest, especially if am I male or female? Because that's going to make a difference. Okay. Because it does matter how the conversation will go.
How are you going to console this person and what do you say? What are you saying?
First, I'm going to give them some tissue.
Okay, thank you.
I'm going to give them some tissue.
Thank you.
And we're going to begin. And I'm going to first ask them, what are your feelings about this? You're crying, but what are your feelings about this whole situation? Because you are an African-American woman. She could be crying because she's excited, but she could be crying for another reason behind the situation. She could be married to a Caucasian man as an African-American woman.
There could be many circumstances. So what I hear you saying is at least find out what circumstances.
Find out why you're crying.
Why are you crying?
Why did you come to work? You're now here. Why are you crying? Because of what happened yesterday. Then we can move forward once we have a clear understanding of why you are crying. Now, I may not have the answers because remember, I'm a Caucasian. So I may not, I'm gonna have some compassion, but I may not have the compassion you need. And hopefully I might have another colleague that's African American that I can reach out to that might be an asset to, helping manage the situation.
Okay. Carolyn, did you have any input on that? Because there's a lot of people that they might be crying for joy, or they might be upset because, just like you said earlier, I know, and you were teasing just a little bit, but this triggers emotions of Freddie Gray, right? And so that could come to mind. So, did you have any thoughts on that?
Well, actually, so I will change your scenario up just a little bit. This is an experience I had. With me, of course, being an African American supervisor and a Caucasian direct report, during the Freddie Gray instance, came to me and she was crying, and because she loves everybody, and she gets along with everyone. She has all friends of all nationalities. So it was really hurtful to her in her way. So I gave her tissues. I always kept tissues in my drawer just in case anybody came in crying, because that was a thing I found. So I gave her tissues. And, what I said to her was, how can I help you through this experience? And it really wasn't anything I could do, but she felt supported because I listened. And I learned that was a word that really really made people excel or be feel their worth as far as my leadership to them, that I made them feel supported. And whatever that takes on many forms, depending on the situation, of course. But in this instance, she came back and thanked me for making her feel supported, and just apologizing for like crying at work. But I said that was fine. That's how you felt. That's how you felt. And I appreciated that she came into the office to, have a conversation with me that got emotional for her, but she felt supported. And again, there was nothing that I specifically could do for her because that was just more of what she was feeling. But she left in a better place in terms of feeling like she got it out. And now she can go and, have a conversation or be ready to have conversations that come to her from her direct reports.
So you said one key word
Mm-hmm.
in this conversation, and I know that I feel like this is an art, and sometimes a lost art. And whether it is you're leading at home or you're leading in the community, workplace, your church, is the ability to listen.
Mm-hmm.
Because it takes a lot. It takes a lot to listen, because as you are hearing somebody, you're also thinking at the same time, like, how am I going to respond? What am I going to say next? And especially if you're nervous, it's like you're rehearsing things in your head to the point where sometimes you don't even hear the question that the person asks you, right? And so, do you all have tricks for being able to focus and listen to what people are actually saying?
Don't be distracted by other things if you can. That's one thing that I do know. Like, don't be on your phone. If somebody's really coming to talk to you, don't be trying to type. Yeah, people get into the thing, I can multitask, I can do that. But if someone has come to you and they really need a honest heart-to-heart type conversation, that's when everything goes to the side and you sit and be attentive. Now, I can't help where your mind start, little people in your mind start talking and doing other stuff.
Right.
Making a grocery list or something. Right?
Yeah, no.
You just have to stay focused. As you just said, Colette, you have to stay focused. And you have to show that person that you are listening to them. And how that is by eye contact. You cannot be sitting there looking like this and they're talking to you and you looking around. Though you may be really thinking how you can help them.
Yes.
Help them because they think you're not paying them any attention.
Right.
Absolutely. Did you have any input, Carolyn?
Yeah, and you're right, Carla. It's truly an art. And I always say leadership takes practice. And I have I really have developed an art to listening. And that's one thing I say in my coaching. The first thing when people want to understand how to do that, I really emphasize talk less, listen more. So when you find yourself starting to want to speak, just talk less, talk less, listen more. If you got to write it down on a piece of paper, talk less, listen more, to remind yourself to just kind of retract and let the other person get out what they need, then you do that. That's one of a tool that I also talk about, just using your ability to just retract from talking and just and Angela's right that the body language together with just intentionally, that's the word I was trying to think of, intentionally listening. And you have to remind yourself sometimes, because you may want to be thinking about your grocery list or something. They may have come in at a time where you want to do that, but as a leader, then you shut that off for a few moments. And I used to remove myself from my desk and go and sit like in a chair, because I had a table in a chair with them, so that I would be removed from my distractions, as Angela mentioned. But it is an art to listen more and talk less, because you're, especially if you're a talker, and a lot of leaders are talkers because that's how they, get things done. They're talking all the time. But in this,
it is so true and okay, I know of which what we're talking about, because I like to talk, but you have to turn that off. And one of the things that I learned in, my coaching experience is that you have to learn to die to self, right? It is about that other person coming. It's not about you. It's about the other person coming into your office. They came in for a reason, right? And the other thing that a communications person that we had on one of the shows said to me, and ever since she said it, and I don't know if the audience took this to heart, but one of the things that people do pay attention to, like Angela said, is that eye contact. The eye contact. And one of the ways that you can control it, she said, is if your heart is facing their heart. If your heart is facing their heart, then your eyes will more than likely face their, be centered on them, on them. And then you will have to turn off all that noise in your head. And that's being intentional.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Being intentional. And as I'm not sure who D. Mozell is, but he must be a relation, right?
Yes, he is. That's my husband.
But your husband said, give your undivided attention. That's what give your undivided attention.
And you say that because that's what I do.
All right. Well, he's giving you the kudos, giving the undivided attention. I wanted to have this conversation here today because there is a lot going on in the world, and people are seeking assistance. They're seeking help. They're seeking out ways to talk to people, and it's not always in the ideal place. Okay, they don't always have people at home, home to talk to, and so guess where they end up talking? At work, at work. And they seek it out. And sometimes the conversation is being warded off because we don't know how to have that conversation. And so that's why I'm thanking you ladies for being on here, because you're giving examples of how to have that conversation, because it's not easy anymore. You're not talking about what did you have for dinner yesterday anymore, or what you think you're gonna wear tomorrow. Okay, it's about these events that are going on in this world, and they're tragic events. We've got mass shootings going on. We're still wearing masks. We're trying to get back into the work. Some of us trying to get back into the workplace, right? It's difficult. It's difficult. And particularly because we are not even able to, in some places, touch one another and give each other a hug when we needed the most. And so I appreciate some of the examples that you've given of how to get the conversation started and how to treat one another with compassion, with empathy. And sometimes you sympathize, in some ways. But, at the end of the day, know that your supervisor does want to get the work done. But there's ways of getting it done. And there's ways of, as you say, humanizing that situation that's being brought forward. So with that, I want to say thank you, ladies, because the conversation was rich. The conversation was intentional. I wanted to have this intentional conversation given what we've all experienced and witnessed yesterday, because it's not easy being a leader in today's world. And so I welcome you all to both come. Well, Angela, you're going to be back, but Carolyn, we're going to need to have you back.
Awesome. I love it.
Yeah, because with these conversations, are meant to give women information that they can use on the job, or use in their household, or use in their communities. And so we want to make sure that we're having a true conversation. It's not made up. As you can see, it's not made up. So we want to make sure that we're having true conversation. Now, I want to tell the audience just about what we're doing here. There's a collective of 12 women that are each appearing on either Monday, Wednesday, or Friday, for which we are having conversations similar to this. We're having true conversation. We're having honest conversation. And we don't want to have long conversation. This has gone longer than I was supposed to go. But, we're having conversation. And each one of the ladies brings something different. So you might not want to watch us each and every time, but you can catch us on the replay, okay? And you might want to choose which conversation speaks to you most, right? On Mondays, we are constantly talking about motivation and movement and getting the messages across and making ourselves feel better. On Wednesdays, we're talking about workforce, and that includes leadership. That includes jobs. That includes economics, okay? And on Fridays, it's just plain old family and friends. And we might talk about a little bit of everything, but it's all planned, and it's planned with you in mind, ladies. It's planned with you in mind. And we don't mind, Mr. Mozell, having the men being a part of our conversation. Just jump right on in there. We're not excluding you. But we are focused in on the ladies how they lead and move forward. So we welcome you to come back again. And let me just tell you what's coming up, because I got to tell you, because my sister here, wait a minute, do I have this right? I got it up already. Why am I searching? Got too many things coming up. Everything coming up now. Okay. Miss Janice Pinkney of High Quest Consulting Solutions is coming to talk to you on Friday. And Lord have mercy, I can't wait for that conversation to happen. She's going to talk about, it's your business. I'm saying it just like that. It's your business. Now, she runs her own business and her own consulting firm. And we want you ladies to know what it takes, what resources that are out there for you, and how to account for that bank. Okay? How to account for it. And I mean bank in all kinds of ways. So you can check all the boxes off when we talk about bank. So I want you to join us on Friday so that we have that rich discussion, so that you can ask your questions and better still get them answered. So join us on Friday to talk about that. And then on Monday, and I don't have a banner up for this, man, sometimes I think I try to avoid it, because we're going to talk about food. We're going to talk about food on Monday. And yes, we're going to talk about it in a nutritious fashion. So I'm hoping that you will join us on Monday to have that conversation. And where can you find us? Guess what? I threw up that ticker just for you all who are asking, at forwardwlf.org. Or you can search us through our hashtag forwardwlf. That's forward, F-O-R, wait a minute, I can't even spell it. FORWARDWLF.org. That's where you can find us. Find us on the website. Continue to subscribe, and you will get our newsletters. We have one that comes out March the 6th. You never know who's in that newsletter, and you never know what we have to offer. And let me just tell you, we are going to have a masterclass with Miss Janice Pinkney and Miss Erica Roberts. Oh my gosh. We're going to have a masterclass. I'm hoping to locate that masterclass in Bowie. And we are going to learn how to conduct our businesses and make sure that they are on the right track for not only surviving this COVID period, but COVID and beyond. So we've got so much going on that I can't even tell it all to you. But if you stay tuned, guess what? You'll learn more. So with that, I want you to continue to mask up, be safe, stay socially distant, and continue to tune into us. Thank you, Angela. Thank you, Carolyn. We hope to see
Thank
more of
you.
you. And
Yes.
until next time, audience, be good and be safe. Thank you very much. See you next time.